Okay, awesome stuff. So you now should be able to see my screen. And where do we want to start? We want to start over here. Okay, guys, I hope you guys have sorted out your Sage University. The ICE tasks, those are the ICE tasks. The tasks that I've given you under more resources, I think they've called it classroom now. So let me just go to it just to show you guys. So classroom resources. I think I didn't even put them under the folder. I should have put them under this folder. Well, I should have created an ICE task folder, but it's right there in your classroom resources. So I need you to actually do these ICE tasks. And that's it. Those are your ICE tasks. I might add a few going forward. We'll see. But yeah, that's more than enough for your module. Okay. The reason why I didn't do anything hectic as well is because also you guys have an assignment on the 15th of October, which is 2 weeks from now. So please, guys, this week, let's make sure that we have our Sage University sorted out, because you won't be able to submit that assignment without having obviously sorted out that Sage University. In other words, paid that 500 Rand, I believe it is. So yeah, let's ensure that we do that and have it sorted this week. Cool. So today, what I want us to do, I want us to do accountants area. Hopefully, maybe we can even do that as well. We'll see. I just heard something there in the chat. Sure, let's quickly check. Somebody saying something. Okay, are you welcome, Oliver? Okay, no, I think that's pretty much it. Okay. Right. Okay. If somebody sent me something personal, I can't view that until the break, because then everybody else will see it, obviously, because I'm sharing my screen. So just a heads up on that front. So the accountant's area, right? This is really about providing access to your accountant, all right? The person who will actually be doing your bookkeeping, all right? So on the accountant's area that I've selected, you just click on invite accountant, all right? Right, so this is showing us how we can invite an accountant, okay? So Sage Accounting allows you to invite your accountant as a user, all right? So you go to accountants area, then invite my accountant, okay? So let's quickly just have a view of that. Now the thing to make you aware of is that because I'm in the demo company right here, so I've hovered over accountants area. So in this drop down, there should be accountants area like right at the top. So above send a note to accountant, that's where it should be. But because I'm in the demo, it's not obviously giving me that option to invite an accountant. Okay, but that's where you would find it. Because remember, it says accountants area, then invite my accountant. Okay, right. Then you'll have this screen pop up. All right, and then you'll click on the add accountant button to add your accountant's information and send the invite. Inviting your accountant will count as a user on your company settings with Sage. Remember, when you set up your Sage, all right, you have a limited number of users that you can add, or people that can have access to your profile in order to assist you with your books, maybe create customers, and so forth, okay? So you should just be aware of that's going to take up was that it? One of your users. Yeah, that's literally it. Okay. Then sending a note, Okay, we've actually just seen this functionality, but let's go there. So here again, you're just hovering over accountant's area, then send a note to my accountant. Click on that. Then you have this pop-up. All right, and this is the pop-up we can see right here. Okay, exactly the same thing. Okay, so again, click on accountant's area, send a note to my accountant. Okay. All right, then add your question and click on save button. The system will send your accountant an email if you have selected the notify my accountant via email checkbox. Okay, which I would definitely do because he might not frequently enter into your Sage profile. Therefore, he might not see his note on the dashboard until, like, a long period may have passed when he actually needed to actually check your profile. So I'd advise that you take this off here so that you send them an email as well. And here you can also add an attachment as well. So here you can see the question they asked is, will I be able to claim VAT back if I have to export goods to another country? Okay, right. Okay, and here you insert the name of the account because you might have more than one accountant. All right, then type. Let's actually just have a look at that quickly. So here you can see type. I could even say meeting is the type of note I'm sending him. Could be a note where I can ask questions or just a reminder. All right, and here I type the subject and then obviously the message. Okay, and then due date. Okay, when do these things need to be addressed? And then when I want to send, I just click save. All right, and that is that. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so that's sending a note. Okay, then journal entries. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so we played around with journal entries when we remember when it comes to journal entries, it's all the transactions that can't go into any of your other journals, your cash receipts, cash payments, your um, creditors journal, your debtors journal, etc, etc. Okay, so what are they saying here? They're saying journals are processed to adjust account balances. Okay, in the process, all right, when they say adjust account balances, remember this is correcting of errors. It could be accounting for depreciation, credit losses. Okay, in the process, journal entry screen, you will first enter the account that will increase in value. Okay, enter the date and reference for the transaction, and then enter an explanation for the journal. Okay, in other words, a description. If the journal requires a corresponding decrease account, which it should, because remember in accounting, every transaction, it affects at least two accounts. All right, so if the journal requires a corresponding decrease account, you will enter the value in the by affecting account column. You can select to include VAT on the journal if necessary. Okay, right. So in other words, that would have been a standard rated product or transaction that affects VAT if we do select VAT. Okay. So how do we get there? How do we get to processing your journal entries? Da, 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 da. We go to accountant area, process journal entries. Simple as that. Okay. And there you can see the very screen that we are looking at here in the slides is the very screen that we have just come from. Okay. All right. So here, let me click here. Okay. The New Journals tab displays any transactions you need to review. So much like the bank account, right? We have new transactions and we have reviewed transactions. Here we have new journals and we have reviewed journals. Okay, you can capture your transactions or import your transactions. Okay, choose the reviewed journals tab to view all reviewed transactions. Okay, and then it goes on to say only reviewed journal transactions will update the account balances and reporting. So only the transactions that you have entered, journal transactions that you've entered, and then obviously saved and reviewed, right, will then actually adjust or affect your books. Okay. If it's sitting on new journals, then it's not going to affect the books because only transactions that sit under reviewed will actually affect our books. Okay. Right, so here is the section that they were talking about when we want to enter a new transaction. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly click on that. Okay, it says grid lines. In the grid, you will enter the transaction details, okay, on the left. So basically just talking to this area here, all the way up until here. Okay, okay. On the right side, you will select the other account that will be affected if required. All right. On the right, the system will automatically fill in the amount for you. Okay, so from your inclusive of that amount that will be automatically inserted, then you need to just quickly insert which other account, what's the contra account that is being affected. Okay, that's what you need to do. All right. So this is what they're talking about on the right. Okay. Let's quickly see here. Okay, so here is what they mean. So for instance, what type of transaction would be, let's say if we were processing a credit loss, do we have bad debts? We have bad debts recovered. So we should have bad debts. No, we don't. How do you have bad debts but not bad debts recovered? Or credit losses for that matter. Sure. And it's not exactly allowing me to create an account here. Add new. There we go. It's an expense. Okay, so bad debts. Creating this account real quick. Okay. All right. Account must be unique. Okay, so let's try credit losses. I didn't see them saying anything in relation to credit losses. Okay, there we go. Credit losses. Okay, so we know that we're going to debit credit losses because it's an expense. And here we're just going to say reference. Okay, so here you can put a number and letters if you want in your reference. Okay, so I'm just going to put WR for write or WO for write off. Okay, and then put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then description. Letter write off, or we can say written off. I'm just going to put Aubrey in brackets so we know which data. Okay, and then obviously we know that there is VAT here applicable. Okay, because you guys sold me some products. Okay, so the VAT exclusive amount is what you put here. I'm going to put 5,000. Okay, can you see it automatically calculated the VAT and it automatically calculated the VAT inclusive amount. Okay, so that's what they meant by the right will automatically be entered into. But then here, what's the other account that's affected? Debtors. Well, current assets. I don't see any current assets here. Yeah, I don't even see them as a category. So let's create again. Wow. Okay, so there really wasn't any debtors there. Okay, so there you go. All right, so there you can see that's how we fill it in. We've put the date was automatically there. All right, we're debiting credit losses. Okay, we put in a random reference there. All right, in our business, we will have obviously agreed on what references we're going to use. Description, debtor written off, all right, brackets Aubrey. We know there's VAT applicable to this transaction, so we wrote standard rated under VAT type. Then the amount, 5,000, it calculated the VAT amount for us and calculated the VAT inclusive amount. And then we obviously highlighted the contra account or the other account affected. Okay. And then obviously it's accounting for VAT. And then here we just click. All right, that's to create another one. So here I can click on this and say save, or I can say mark selected as reviewed. Okay. This will, can you see it's disappeared? All right. If I go to reviewed, can you see it's sitting there? Okay, so this has affected um, 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 our accounting, our books. Okay, the entry has been passed, so to speak. Okay, right, cool. So that is how you process a journal entry. Okay, right. Then here, okay, so here we're just hovering under the different section. Date is obviously the date. Do we want to debit or credit? All right. How are we affecting this account in the next column? Do you want to debit it or credit it? All right. Then here, reference. Okay. You can see the different ways that they've referenced here. They said loan. Here they put some letters and numbers. Okay. Right. Description. All right. Type. Okay. If VAT is not applicable, then obviously you just say no VAT. Okay. The amount. And then as we saw, these next two columns are already filled in. And then here you're just putting the account that's affected. Oh, and if we wanted, we could attach some documents. Maybe that could be your source documents, all right? Just so people have a reference point. Okay. Now, if we want to correct a journal entry that we've already made, okay, what we would have to do, remember when we spoke about passing errors in the general journal, all right, when we did that exercise, I think we were in Unit 5, Learning Unit 5. Where we did an exercise on passing transactions in the general journal. All right, and in doing those corrections, what you would find is that we would then have to debit or credit, all right, to kind of reverse what we had initially done. Okay, here I see they've actually given an example. I don't want to click on start because it'll probably take us through an exercise of some sort. So here they say the finance department captured the amount of 2,000 as advertising instead of processing it to water and electricity. Please follow all the prompts over the next screens. When you are ready, click on the start button. Okay, so here basically what needs to happen is they need to reverse that. They're going to need to credit advertising, All right, and then obviously, what's this? Debit, water, and electricity. That's how they would rectify that situation. Okay, all right. So let's move on. Okay, so that is your journal entries. Very important. Okay. What you also have is reoccurring journal entries. Reoccurring journal entries. Okay. All right. So you know what? I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something. No, it's fine. It's okay. It's all right. Okay. Reoccurring journal entries are associated with repetitive account balance adjustments. Okay. They are typically done to record items like accruals, depreciation, amortization, and allocations. Okay. All right. You need to define the total amount and schedule for allocating and posting journals. The schedule used provides logic to determine the execution date at which journal entries needs to be repeated. Okay, you can create multiple new reoccurring journal entries with an overview of all captured transactions. Click on Accountants area, Reoccurring Journal Entries. Okay, right. So this just makes your life easier in that you don't have to come here every single month and actually do another. Oh, we're actually already on it. Okay, so accountants area, click on reoccurring journal entries. Okay, and then you obviously have this screen here. Okay, so you obviously then just click on add reoccurring journal. Okay, okay, so here you can see you can import and you can export. It's pretty much the same process. There's just something that I wanted to show you guys. You have okay, no, it's fine. So you're pretty much just entering it the same way. Um, So let's just quickly see here. You need to define the total amount and schedule for allocating and posting journals. The schedule used provides logic to determine the execution date at which journal entries need to be repeated. You can create multiple. Oh, we read this. Okay, fine, cool. So let's click on next. Okay, it's not taking us to this screen. How come? Yeah, I knew something wasn't quite right. Okay, let's go to home. It was doing so the last time, though. It was doing so just fine. Let's try. Okay. There we go. All right, there we go. So this is the screen that I was trying to get us to, okay, which is exactly the same. So here you can see they've added in the description, depreciation, okay. But before I go there, it says complete a template name and specify whether the transaction should be marked as reviewed, okay. All right, so here you can see they click on marked as reviewed. So someone switch on their mic there. You can speak if you want to. Okay, So here you click on marked as reviewed, and that just automatically processes it. You have to click on active. All right, we know that if it's not active, then obviously it's not going to do anything. Okay. When marked as reviewed is checked, the transaction will update the system journals automatically. Okay. However, when marked as reviewed is unchecked, the system will create the journal entries to be reviewed by you before the system journals update. Okay. So remember, this is a reoccurring journal. All right. So let's say you make it every month or every year. So basically, we're saying when you go to new, that's when you will see it. Okay. Then you will have to mark as reviewed, which is also good because sometimes you might actually want to verify whether the amount for the depreciation that was done, like for instance in this case, is correct. Okay. So you may want to just verify that because maybe at the time when you put in the amount, you are like, this is what I think is going to depreciate at, but you are not sure. Okay, so it just gives you that opportunity to rectify or review the transaction before passing it, because once you've passed it, it's obviously going to affect your books. Okay, and then add recurring journal entry transactions on the transaction tab, which is here. Okay, and then schedule. Let's see what schedule is all about. I want us to wait, but before we go there, I think let's click on this. Oh, okay, so it's just repeating what we were saying earlier. So there's nothing. So this is what the schedule screen will look like. Again, let me just go there so you guys can see. So we've entered the description, then we click on schedule, and there you have it. Okay. So how frequently do we want to be doing this? Do we want to be doing it daily? Okay. Every 1 day. Okay. How many other days? We could say every 5 days if we wanted to. Okay. Whatever number of days. Okay. Weekly. Okay. All right. Which day of the week do we want to do this? Okay. All right. Or monthly. Okay. Day 29. Okay. Of every 1 month. Okay. Last day. Okay. All right. So literally these are the different options you have. And then here we're saying, when should this thing start? Okay. Could start on the 29th of September, and it could end. We could make it end. Why is it not allowing me to? Okay, that's why. Okay, and then make it end. Can actually just click there and switch the years. December 2005. So for instance, again, if we're doing depreciation, okay, for those of you who are unaware, depreciation is just the loss in value of a non-current asset. Okay, so we could be do depreciation on a vehicle. Okay, sorry, excuse me. So we could do depreciation on a vehicle, and then obviously in that scenario, when we're doing depreciation on a vehicle, it's going to lose value over a period of time. So we could do this for 5 years, do it for 4 years, whatever period we see fit for this asset. Okay. So obviously then when we're done, we just say save, or we can say save and new if we want to do um, another reoccurring, what you call it, reoccurring journal entry. Yeah. Let's get back to our slides though. So everything I've just told you is exactly what you're seeing on the screen. They're just showing you, okay, typically what it looks like, how you would then enter that information. Okay, and then obviously you click the save button to pass through your reoccurring journal entry. Okay. The next two things that we have here is your trial balance export. Okay. Okay, remember guys, I made you guys in learning unit 2, I think it is. We spoke on what and trial balance is. And a trial balance is literally just a list of all the accounts in our books. That's all the trial balance is. It's a list of all the accounts in our books. Okay. And here it says, in Sage Accounting, you can export your trial balance to a CSV file. This allows you to import the exported file into other CSV compatible software. Okay, you won't be able to view this stuff unless it's in CSV compatible software. This facilitates the ability to import your trial balance into other auditing software and spreadsheets or spreadsheets. You can select to assign account numbers to the list of accounts. Okay, I'm trying to think now. You remember, let me do this in the chat. You remember whenever people wanted to refer to, okay, how to start working the Sage. Okay, I'm not so sure. Okay, I think Mr. LA, I think it's best that you switch on your mic and ask your question. Just as we approach the break, let me just finish off with the VAT there, because your question, I think I need more context so that I answer it appropriately. Okay. Right. But then now, just to quickly go where I was going. Remember, in your trial balance, you can have a hash and then an N. All right. This is typically like in the folio. Okay. And in some cases, you have a hash and then a B. Okay. Or a B, just a B. Okay. That's for the balance sheet section or the statement of financial position section. Okay. So we're here. So those, so that's what they're talking about when they say you can select to assign account numbers to the list of accounts. Okay, because remember they could put, especially when we're doing closing transfer. Oh, you guys didn't do that in your curriculum. So yeah, when you're looking at the trial balance, you should be able to see that. I think in unit when we did balancing, also in unit 5, we also saw what is this? What do you call it? The pre-adjustment trial balance and the amended trial balance. Remember when our trial balance is not balancing, we would then have to do a reconciliation statement. All right. There you would also see these assigned account numbers to the list of accounts. All right. So to export or to download, in other words, our trial balance, all you simply need to do is go to the accountant area. Okay. Okay. So yes, I want to go here. Accountants area. Then you go to trial balance export. Okay. Okay. And then you can see we're on the exact same screen right here. Can you see that? Okay. You select. You can see the format there, CSV. Okay. So you can only download in CSV. You can see that. Okay. Then here you can date range. So do we want a yearly one? Do we want a monthly one? Okay. If we pick month, okay, which month? Do we want the current month? Or do we want August? Or do we want January 2021? Or do we even want to go into 2020? Okay. Also go into that. All right. Or do we want, a quarterly to date? Okay. Or do we want, what do we want? Yearly, quarterly, what do we want? Okay. So that's the bit that we obviously first select. Okay. So here we've picked yearly, current year. Okay. So there you can see closing balances. Okay. Then obviously I just click export data. Okay. And there you can see it has downloaded. Okay. So that's what you simply need to do there. All right, let's see. Is there any additional? To export your trial balance, specify your date range and viewing options by using the drop-down menus. Okay, after you have made your selection, click on Export Data button. Okay. All right. Assign account numbers. Okay. Okay. Assign account numbers in the account number column by manually typing the alphabetic and/or numeric numbers. After you have made your selection and mapped your account numbers, click on Save button. The system will return the trial balance screen. Click on the Export Data button. Okay. All right. So that's all you need to really do there. And that is it in terms of exporting your trial balance. Okay, then the last thing we'll quickly touch on is reports. Okay, so here again, guys, you can get your different statements. You can get your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and I've forgotten there's another one. So here, I've just clicked on explain, and here you can see it's explaining what sales are, your formula for sales, cost of sales. Okay, this is stuff you guys should know, but I must confess, these are excellent descriptions. So if you need a recap on these things, like to look at the formulas again, this would be an excellent place for you guys to recap this stuff. Purchases, item adjustments, okay, and then obviously gross profit. We click here, we get to the next page. Other income, expenses, net profit, income tax expense, net profit slash losses after tax. Okay. Right. So if I flip here, they're going to give me the next statement, balance sheet. Again, here you can see the structure. Okay, I forgot to do that here. Here you can see the structure of your profit and loss, also known as your statement of other comprehensive income. Okay. There you can see sales comes up first, cost of sales, gross profit, other income, and then your expenses, and then you have your net profit at the bottom there. Here they obviously made a net loss. Okay. Right here you've got the structure for the balance sheet. Okay, assets, non-current assets. Then we go to current assets. Okay, then we get our total assets there in blue. Then we obviously have a look at our equity and liabilities. So here it's just the equities. Okay. All right, but then your liabilities would follow underneath that. Okay, non-current and current, and then hopefully you have this very same amount under your equity and liabilities. Okay, then you know your balance sheet is balancing. And here, click on explanation of fields. There again, you can see definitions on what a current asset is, current liability, okay, net asset or liability value. Okay, in other words, the difference between your total assets and the liabilities. Okay, very, very, very good definitions over there. Okay, and that's your accountant area. We finished it, right? It's everything, yeah. That's your accountant area. So what I wanted us to do in the next session was to do the VAT. But as you can see, guys, we finished all these other modules, all right, all these other subject topics. So all we have is VAT, budgeting, and opening balances, okay? So we have plenty of time to get through those. So for today, what I'm going to actually do with you is I'm going to say, look, guys, in the second section, I want you guys to go and do your ICE tasks. Guys, I promise you, you'll finish those ICE tasks within the next session, okay? The reason why I'm doing this is, remember, your ICE tasks are going to close on Thursday. Thursday is the 30th of October. And guys, I don't want any stories. I want you all to have done your ICE tasks so you can get that 10%. So please go and do those ICE tasks in the next session. Then the next time I see you, we'll get into VAT. It's also got a lot of content there. I think it'll probably be a face-to-face session, so that'll also be nice. To recap also on the things we learned in terms of VAT. and then we'll probably also touch on budgets, and then maybe we'll leave opening balances for the last session. We'll see. We'll see. But we have more sessions than we have modules to cover. So I think we're definitely in a good position. Are there any questions? I think let me deal with the questions now before I let you guys go. Mr. LA.